Hello, everyone. Scott and Lars here. Well, Lars and Scott, because Lars is the main name on this channel, and I'm just supporting him at this point. But we're here to talk about the Apothecary Diaries, episode 38, The Dancing Ghost, where
Ooh.
where we get an actual ghost story that Maomao ruins for everyone.
That's so true.
Oh man, and we knew this was coming because it was foreshadowed in the previous episode about Lady Lishu having a ghost, and she refused to go take a bath in the bathhouse in her pavilion. So she goes to the huge bathhouse where everybody else goes. But in this one, we actually get to look into the situation. Maomao gets basically taken back by Jinshi, and Jinshi's very upfront this time. He's like, I'm taking back this Maomao. Like, he's not beating around the bush. He's like, this is my employee. She's coming with me. And Lady Yokio's like, oh my, he's actually acting like he has balls again.
He said the name. He
did.
The name.
Oh man. And poor Gao Shun's just stuck in the background. He's like, bruh, you need to wake up and just be honest with yourself because you're just causing yourself more trouble.
Oh yeah.
Man. It's funny to watch though.
So we got some fun stuff to get into with this particular episode. But before we dive much further into the events that Scott has already started us on, we are still giving away frogs as drawn by Camille. And I've been happy to see more people guessing recently or trying to find frogs. And be the first person to comment below with the correct number of frogs, and you will have won your own illustrated frog from Camille. Woohoo!
So, Jinshi and Gao Shun and Maomao, the mystery gang, all get together and go to Lady Lishu's pavilion to go investigate the Ghostbusters. It's the Ghostbusters this time. Anyway, they go to Lady Lishu's pavilion to look around, see what's going on, and they take a look at the bath and look through the window, and apparently kind of odd because the window leads over to a warehouse, which like most of the other pavilions, it leads outside. So they get looking around trying to figure out what's going on, and we end up having some issues with some really, let's just say they're very ugly stepsister energy ladies in waiting for that Lady Lishu ends up having, because they're very full of themselves. They're very much feel like they have the power over the young consort just because she's kind of unsure of herself. She's not really able to stand up for herself all that much, and they're definitely taking advantage of that. And we see some fun moments where Jinshi is able to basically lead these ugly stepsister types around by their noses, by their need to be recognized by Jinshi, to get them out of the way while they actually investigate the situation. And they go into this little warehouse room, and Maomao gets looking around and looking at where the curtain is, because the description of the ghost was a face with dancing robes underneath it. And they go and look and realize that some wind must have been moving the curtain. And looking around, and there's no windows in the room. They're all closed off, and they can't quite figure out where the wind is coming from until Maomao moves some stuff around and finds a bunch of mold and a bunch of floorboards that were falling apart, especially along the walls. And they believe air was coming up out of that, especially because the waterway goes right underneath that room, and when you put hot water down through there, it creates a draft up through that and kind of shakes the curtains around. But then they got looking around a bit more and you're like, okay, well, there's the dancing robes. Where's the face coming from? Till they find an old family heirloom copper mirror. And Maomao's like, maybe I know what this is. And gets looking at it and gets like the sunlight to reflect off of it and got a face to come out of it. And apparently if you make the mirror a special way, like when it reflects light, it'll like cast an image onto the wall, and it's the image of Lady Lishu's dead mother. And Lady Lishu just breaks down, like crying, has a complete emotional moment, which is interesting to see in this case because Maomao is like trying to say is like it's not an actual ghost. Your mother's not like coming after you. Like there's no such thing as ghosts. Like completely intellectually looking at this, and Lady Lishu's not hearing any of it. Of course, the ugly stepsisters come back and try to take the mirror away. Lady Lishu actually fights back this time, and then Jinshi ends up putting them in their place and basically ruining their entire existences.
Yeah.
It was very like short and well done. He drops the hammer very hard, and like I love it when you see a character that doesn't have to physically menacing to be like utterly bloodthirsty. In this case, Jinshi pulls it off really well. Anyways, we kind of wrap up the mystery from there, and they go their different ways. Maomao goes back to the apothecary and talks to the old quack doctor about like anesthetics and how how the eunuchs are tested to make sure they are eunuchs before they go into the rear palace. And of course there's more talk about this mysterious really hot eunuch that all of the ladies in the rear palace are falling in love with. Basically, Jinshi, on the other hand, he's like, I need to get Lacan on my side so I can get Maomao on my side. And Gao Shun's just like, you just need to be more honest with yourself, dude. So it's a pretty good episode.
Yeah. Say Gao Shun absolutely being the dad in the situation, just like you got a crush. Just tell the girl you got a crush, man. Like we've got more important things to be worrying about. I like how this episode is yet another like snapshot in the life of the rear palace. Sure, there's of course buildup going on. There's groundwork being laid, hints being had for things that are going to happen later on. Like the talk about Lacan is most definitely revealing. We keep coming back to this to this beautiful eunuch who's scarred, and of course he's going to be important later on. You don't just keep cutting away to this guy for no good reason. Yes, he's eye candy to the women there, but like to us, the viewers, we don't even get to see him all that much. So it's like he's not much of eye candy to us because we don't even get to see him.
Unless you read the light novels or the manga and know ahead of time who that person is, and you're just like, ah! Anyway, continue.
Potential spoilers, which I can't give or even hint at because I've not read ahead. But coming back to it, this episode does a lot for Lady Lishu and for Jinshi without having to hang it on big plot moments, which I personally think is really great writing because it allows you as the author to slow things down but keep it relevant. If you're always constantly going, it can be very exhausting. We need those breaks. But sometimes authors neglect to make those breaks significant or relevant or interesting in some kind of way. And the Apothecary Diaries doesn't really waste any time at all. If we're doing something other than the big important stuff, there's a reason for it, not just to slow things down or just to do setup for way later on. There's important character building moments. And we definitely get that with Lishu. finally like having a good cry. This girl needs a good cry.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that people are there to stand up for her standing up for herself, and then Jinji using Maomao's name in a big moment that isn't even all that big for the story, and then Jinji putting the other ladies in waiting in their place. He's
Mm-hmm.
always been cordial, and now, as you said, like he goes like bloodthirsty, on like just destroys them, and he's doing it with a smile on his face, and he doesn't even need to be as explicit or as violent as Maomao. He just says what needs to be said, and it works beautifully.
Oh man, it was a very fun episode, very refreshing episode in that way. And I think you're right, because like for the longest time, especially longer anime, they would try to slow down by doing filler arcs. And I feel like, I mean, it's great to see like the characters doing other stuff and goofing off and having something that doesn't matter quite so much, but I like how we're actually getting relevant information in a lower stake situation at the moment. And this is how you keep a longer form story like Apothecary Diaries um, going as long as it needs to go, because every situation, every day that we're like exposed to, we're learning more about the situation everything's in. And that's what's fun about Apothecary Diary, in my opinion, because all of the information that we're getting, it will be relevant later. So I'm sure knowing about like the waterways in the rear palace, knowing about Lady Lishu's like history, especially with her mom and everything there, will come back and will be important later. So why not have an episode like this?
It's just it's nice to have this. Like, and this
Mm-hmm.
is this is world building, and world building. This is world building put into practice.
Mm-hmm.
Which world building doesn't have to be, and this is how the technology works. This is how the magic works. This is the politics. These are the big countries. World building can also be the relationships that help to support the main cast and give meaning to some of the actions and consequences
Mm-hmm.
of what the main cast does.
Honestly, I think it's better we get this kind of world building. Like, if you have one without the other, you're, well, let me put it this way. If you've got all your world buildings all on the big, important, like, building blocks, and you don't have, like, the mortar that's, like, the relationships and, like, why we actually care about the characters, it's not going to make as much sense, and we're not going to be able to build the story up as tall or as
Mm-hmm.
wide as we need it to go.
Yeah. Say big plot moments, big action, or big reveals can honestly only take you so far. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
even some of those really big reveals don't land as hard if you don't care so much about the characters.
That's part of why I love this story so much, especially like even just an episode like this where it's not as high stakes. We're not worried about like one of the characters dying or like getting shot or getting poisoned. You know what I mean? Um, but we're actually like learning about them, and we're getting to see their reactions to different situations. So it, we're getting some like really powerful stuff, specifically with like Jinshi and Maomao, because like Maomao is looking at her, and specifically when Lady Lishu has her really emotional moment there after they figure out what was going on with the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
Maomao disconnects from that situation because that kind of emotional drama, that kind of connection with other people, she's never had. And it shows in how she reacts to the situation, because she's like, no, it's not a ghost. Ghosts don't exist. And Lady Lishu just not hearing any of it. And we're able to clearly see in that situation, Mamao's like just doesn't understand. And we know why, like the way she was raised, and like how she's gone about her life, it makes sense. But like actually seeing all of that stuff that we've learned about actually put into play, grounds her character more. And then we have the situation with Jinshi trying to justify how badly he needs Maomao in his life without bringing in emotions and everything and failing at it. And Gao Shun's just like, you need to just wake up and be honest with yourself. Like, we're seeing more of Jinshi's character that way, because we're starting to see Jinshi actually falling for Maomao. I mean, it's very slow burn, and I'm fine with that. We don't need to get too into that at the moment. But it's fun to see that building up as the story goes.
No, I'm going to point out, it's interesting that you say that like that he's slowly falling for Maomao, because all throughout, I can't say all throughout season 1, but throughout a significant portion of season 1, and especially in recent events this season, it would seem as though Jinji is just bursting at the seams to let Maomao know, I love you. So what's your qualifier, Scott, for saying like his feelings are there, but this isn't Jinji sweating bullets over like, oh, you're so cute, you're the one that I want, ooh ooh ooh, Maomao.
That is both really funny and like disturbing at the same time. Anyway, I think in this case, like, they're so focused on making Maomao like an asset to them, like in the political games that's going on, that they're missing the emotional and like mental clues that are being like put down at the same time. Like, Maomao's completely oblivious to this kind of stuff, and it like I was saying, we understand why. But with Jinshi, that's kind of his powerhouse. We see this very clearly in this episode. He's very good at using his popularity and his like good looks to his advantage in the Rare Palace, and Maomao is completely immune to those. And so, like, it's very easy to see Jinshi's interest in her from the very start, really, because she doesn't react the way he expects her to react. But like, now that they've had enough time together to like get to know each other, he's starting to notice that he needs her more because of her honesty, because of how like she's able to separate herself from like all of this other stuff that's going on. I don't know if that actually answers the question, but that's kind of my take.
No,
on it.
that I think that helps to answer in that Jinji is doing what he's doing not simply because he likes Maomao, but because there is this political game that is being played. There is a very real sense of danger, of purpose, and all of the recent episodes that have given us so much shipping material actually underscore the danger and the political need behind having an alliance with Maomao. But it's not just, but the thing is that, and this is where for anyone who might be like, well, why, like, he's like, this is my Maomao, like I want her returned to me. There's a huge difference between having Maomao as a servant within Jinji's employ, or Maomao being someone who belongs to Lady Gyokyo as a poison tester who's being loaned out to Jinji or to the other lady or to the other consorts, as we have seen happen multiple times. In this case, for whatever is building up, which we still don't really know what it is, this is going to mean that lines are drawn in the sand. People who are involved will have to take sides. There is no middle ground. Maomao has been flittering around this entire time in a middle ground-ish area. If she sides with Jinji, there's no more room for that. Lacan will be angry if Jinji just simply takes her on over onto his side, or forces her to take a side without him having a say in it, or Maomao having a say in it. And once again, we don't fully grasp yet what exactly is happening here. but the context clues are all there that this is far more than just simply, I've got a huge crush on you, but rather something big is happening. And if we go forward together, I need to know that you are truly in my camp so I can protect you, because whatever is going to come next is going to be rough.
Oh boy, is it going to be rough.
See, I'm excited. I'm excited for whatever this is going to be, because this is real Game of Thrones stuff, not whatever George R. R. Martin has written, which is scheming and politicking, which all gets thrown out the window the moment that someone important gets killed, and then no one can seem to actually make decent choices from that point onwards. As again, coming back actually to the assassination attempt on Jinshi's life, Lord Shiso was in a brilliant situation where no matter what happens, he stands to gain somehow. Like, that's real politicking. That's real Game of Thrones stuff. And we have gotten only a taste of that.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm excited for you to see what's going to happen, and it's coming up. It's really soon.
Oh boy. I'm so excited.
You better be. I am super excited for what you're gonna see, and I'm curious if it's just gonna be in this next episode. Give me a sec, because next episode we get to learn how to make ice cream next episode.
Yay! Well, yeah. as her little friend Xiaolon is on the brink of potentially having her head removed.
Yep, pretty much.
So what was your ice cream date like? Oh, I just saved my friend from getting beheaded. So thank you everyone for joining us on this review and analysis of this episode of the Apothecary Diaries. If you'd like to have more reviews, insights, analyses, and the likes of them, please subscribe to our channel and check out all the other amazing videos that we've had. If you have stumbled upon us for the first time and you want to check out all our other talk about the Apothecary Diaries, there is a ton. And we want to also hear from you what your thoughts, insights were in regards to this episode. Please comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to support us even further, then please check out the books that we've published. Links for all of them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, make sure you do not knock over a courtesan's supply of ice. And choose.
Okini.